Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to tonight's race. I am Baka Shinobi, and I am joined by Leggy Starstream. How are you doing this evening, Leggy?
I'm doing all right. Looking forward to seeing two of the competitors in my own group for this tournament dueling it out. We have jenicastrife trying to get her second win versus Frostbite, who is currently 2-0 and is fighting for his position at the table.
That is a fierce fight. When both runners not having a loss, one of them's definitely going to be a little disappointed. It's that Magma group for going through to get to the tables one way in the hook route, another. Neither are looking terribly kind in terms of quality of opponents that you're going to be going against. So qualifying for table directly, I can see both our runners thinking, yes, I want table, give me table directly. I don't want to putz around with anything else. Those groups look scary. I don't want to join anyone else there.
Right? Whereas Jenica, on the other hand, only has a single win and no losses. So if she can take this tonight, all she has to do is beat me on Thursday to get her place at the table.
I imagine that sounds like a bit of a fight still.
I'm hoping to put up a bit of a fight. We'll see.
Well, you're going to see exactly how much of a fight you're going to be able to estimate for, going to scout out your competition today, see how well things are doing. Well, I imagine you've already played your match against Frostbite.
Indeed. As you can see, he's got no losses, so I'm sure you can infer how that went.
That's impressive that you can go and get 2 wins from one race. That's really neat.
Anyway, we've got a Rydia start and some interesting objectives tonight. What are your thoughts on that front?
Completing the sealed cave and dropping the Magma Key down the Aggregate Well, those are two diametrically opposed interesting ones for very different reasons. Magma Key, there are one of 2 ways underground. One is by dropping that Magma Key down the Aggregate Well, the other is the hook path. If we start with a hook path, that Magma Key can be anywhere. You can need to go to the moon to try and find it, so that could be rude, or it could just be, alright, here you go, you did the Antline Cave, here's an Magma Key, go have fun with the underworld. The sealed cave, however, you start with Rydia, so you have access to warp. We have the warp glitch on in these flags. Once you get underground, you don't want to go and do a sealed cave, you want to warp glitch Dwarf Castle and get that item, so that's also something that can be really rude. If it has, that is going to be something where you have to go and pay attention to which key item you get from there, because if you get a Darkness Crystal, well, you know Luke is on the Earth. And we are started.
Indeed. And the final objective there, completing Cave Bahamut, is a little spicy, but Valvalis giving us that early Magma Key. So I didn't realize we only had 3 objectives to worry about today.
Yeah, I think we're going to go and have this thing called Check Your Freebies going on.
So, the Magma Key start is interesting to me because going underground right away definitely has some strong appeals in terms of finding treasure. Because we're in T-Wildish, treasure that is in harder to reach locations, including things that are gated behind key items, such as going underground, is a little bit better. On the other hand, we do have the free characters floating around here on the overworld, which can be attractive for our runners, building out that party so that when you get underground, you may or may not have a little bit of power to start to do things.
Yeah, and finding Rosa in Watery Pass, she's definitely a great character. She's not going to go and have power on her own. Yeah, she starts with a bow and arrow, but it's a short bow and iron arrows, and neither of those do any real damage. And jenicastrife going straight to drop off that Magma Key, getting her objective taken care of. Not a bad play. I am the type of person who would try and do Antlion Cave before going underground, just because I want to see if I can get a pan from there. But otherwise, yeah, this is a solid play. Just go. You need to do it. This is there is no good reason for you not to do this, so just do that, get underground, and then see if there's, you can check that free Famar's chest, see if that's a pan or one of your other objectives. This is really open for our runners really early, and with that Cave Bahamut only requiring a darkness crystal is either overworld or underground, we're on the hunt for one or two key items at this point.
Yeah, and even if Jenica doesn't go immediately underground, opening up the hole means that she doesn't have to come back and do that cutscene later. It's just getting it out of the way. Finds a cursed ring in the Agate item shop, which I'm sure she is going to keep in the back of her head for later. The cursed ring being a super important item for doing agility manipulation.
Yes, that's actually something that would sting a bit for me, just because Agate's a place I never want to go back to because it's kind of out of the way and doesn't do anything. And you don't have any money to go and buy those yet. So that's another reason why I'd like to go and do something like Antlion first. There's treasure there, I can go get loot, I can get some money, and if there's something super critical like a cursed ring, which agility manipulation is real important in Free Enterprise, that cursed ring giving minus 15 to all stats actually is massive, because the slower your anchor is, the better turn efficiency you have, or the better turns you can get, where if something vastly outspeeds you, you can still just even a field with that.
And getting back to the action, Frostbite went up to the Damsian Castle, found a Cid. Jenica looted Baron, finding another Yang at the Baron Inn, hanging out with everyone's favorite antlion. A check of who's at the Magic City of Mysidia today.
A Tella and a Porum. White mages are at a premium because Bacchus Finds are expensive. A number of the other helpful white magic spells they do are good. Already a Rosa in the seed, so I don't know if Porum's going to be that useful, but Tella can go and be one very good character.
Yeah, Jenica, I don't think has gone to find the Rosa yet. On her way there right now, so never mind. But she does have the Tella in her party, which does give her instant access to the exit spell. And I know that I personally like doing the full loot of this Watery Pass with the ability to exit back out to the front.
Yeah, as you said, those T Wildish flag sets, Underground's good. So is Watery Pass. Watery Pass is equal to Dwarf Castle when it comes to terms of loot, and you can find some good tier 6 items here. You can find things like power shirts, Artemis bows, defense swords. Definitely not things you would want to just turn down, so helpful. Only looting the first room, that's definitely also reasonable, because the more time you spend looting, the more time you're giving to your opponent to keep doing checks like Frostbite's doing. They are doing Antlion, they have found the Mom there. Kind of an annoying fight here, because you're guaranteed not to be able to get through this, well, normally 1,000 health. Here, probably somewhere closer to 1,000 or 10,100 or 11,000 health. Math is good. Mama gets an extra 10,000 health so that she can go through her exploding script.
Yeah. Making good use of Sid's Earthhammer to clear it out, pulls the Baron Key from Antlion Cave.
This is something I'm actually a little scared of, because that's potentially a rabbit hole on Earth. The more spots you have open to you, there's only one spot that can have the Darkness Crystal. And I don't want to go to a place that doesn't have the Darkness Crystal at this point. I would rather go and find that Darkness Crystal first, and then try and keep doing checks around on Earth to find the Luca Key or Adamant in Legend. Because if I get strong enough, I know that Cave Bahamut is an objective. Clearing that is something I need to do. Maybe I go and blast through that sometime.
Yeah, it all depends on where that Luca Key is versus where our pieces of Forge lined up.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Oh.
Frostbite at the top of Mount Hobbs finds a Rosa locked in deadly combat with everyone's favorite Dragon of the Mists.
that is one of the things that's easy to do on these flags is just fade Hobbs because it doesn't give. You already have 3 characters. Why do you need more characters? Granted, we haven't seen the biggest prize of these characters, Edge, because he starts at level 25 and a bunch of good gear and some pretty well enough weapons for the overworld. But missing Demus and Demus just kind of sitting out wherever they feel like, that's kind of bad because Demus on these flags, we have no free key items. So in the vanilla game where Edward gives you the Twin Harp from his bed in Toria, we don't go and do that because we feel like, well, we already give you 1 key item to start off the game. Giving a second is excessive. Let's go and hide it somewhere. Do we go and give it to Demus? Kinda. More to the point, we go and have, when Demus is defeated, if you go back to Mist Village, you'll see Meridia's mother there, and when you speak with her, she will go and give you a key item.
But we do have the Rydia start, which does make Hobbs slightly more attractive, because as we see on Jenica's side, if you come in the front, normally in the vanilla game, Rydia learns the Fire 1 spell there to break through the ice. But Fire 1 is not a very good spell. I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Kind of.
So, having the Fire 1... having Fire 1 not exactly being desirable, we replace it with one of Rydia's summons randomly. And so Jenica, wanting to check what free summon she can get for Rydia, came in from the other side and went up the mountain and found the D-Mist, which gives...
the Earth Crystal. That is a very nice pickup. What the Earth Crystal does is, one, it allows you to get to the end of the Tower of Zot. You can already get in there. You can go up there and you can even fight a boss. Spoilers, there's been Demus there as well, so if you thought the Hobbs check was rude, wait until you find one of those seeds. But after you beat the first boss in the Mega Sister spot, you then have to go and defeat the boss in the Valhalla spot. But you can't get there until you have the Earth Crystal to give whoever is standing in for Golbez today and really wants a crystal to add to their collection.
That said, the Earth Crystal does allow you to get one more important check, which is the ability to go look into the Troya Armory, which in T Wildish is known to have some fairly nice stuff.
Yes, when we say we weight treasure chests, we really do weight them, and we weight the Earth Treasury very favorably. You can get multiple crystal swords or really powerful weapons out there. Some Munes, white shirts, power shirts, as I've said before, because those things are fantastic. Zeus gauntlets, Stardust rod, life staffs, all the big heavy stat sticks you can go and pull out from there.
Indeed. So, one of the big things that we'll want to see is just how good that treasury turns in to today, because depending on what our runners find there, you could have completely different ideas of what you want from your party.
Oh yeah, this is the things you have access to drastically change your opinions of characters. Like Cecil. Cecil is going to go and be shunned pretty heavily right now because we have this thing called Vanilla Agility on. We've said how important agility anchoring is. Cecil is a very speedy character, and if you level him up, he's going to go and be a terrible anchor. He actually starts as an awful anchor because he starts with 13 agility. That's not something you want. You want to go and have someone who's nice and slow to anchor. But if you got a crystal sword, here's a few numbers for you. Third best weapon in the game is the White Spear. It has an attack power of 106. The second best weapon is the Excalibur. It has the attack power of 150, and only Cecil can use it. The best weapon in the game has an attack power of 200. It's the Crystal Sword that only Cecil can use, and it gives plus 15 strength. When Cecil is level 1 and you give him a crystal sword, he swings for 1,000 damage, no exaggeration.
Yeah. Pulling a crystal sword is the difference between, I don't really want a Cecil today, I don't want to deal with this vanilla agility nonsense, and okay, give me all of the Cecil right now, please, Seed, for the love of all that is holy.
Okay, technically, we do have the spoon flag on, which means that the spoon is the strongest weapon that sets Edward's attack power to 255 because we decided to make a flag to let Edward use a very strong weapon, and the spoon has the maximum attack power of 255. My problem is, 1, it doesn't give plus 255 strength, or plus 15 strength, and 2, Edward isn't going to see 15 strength for a lot of levels in general. He's a very weak character. Oh my goodness, Feymarch is a legend sword, and there's a free curse string in there as well. That is a set of check.
Great. So Frostbite is a darkness crystal, and then one of 2 items away from go mode.
That's always a scary position, because that means anywhere you skip could be go mode once you find darkness. Darkness is, you have to find it on Earth. There's only a limited pool of checks. The Luca key, unless darkness is in on there when you warp glitch it, it can be anywhere. And the adamant definitely can be anywhere because it doesn't gate anything. The only thing that happens when you have the adamant and the legend sword is you go to Cole Smith and he forges you an Excalibur.
Yeah. That said, I personally would feel a little more comfortable fighting the Darkness Crystal knowing that I have Cave Bahamut to clear. Because, like, if Cave Bahamut is the item I'm looking for, then, well, there we go. And if it's not, Cave Bahamut is one of the very late game bosses, so I will need the ability to clear it anyway, and if I can clear Cave Bahamut, I'm usually feeling pretty comfortable clearing out the rest of the moon.
Yep. And speaking of being able to clear Cave Bahamut, we do have probably one of the best ways of clearing Cave Bahamut, Tella. Okay, maybe it's an indirect way, because when you can get to Cave Bahamut, it means that you have the Darkness Crystal. If you have the Darkness Crystal and Tella, you can do the wonderful thing called a D-Machine grind. This is one of the things that is from the vanilla speedrun, where you go find a very specific encounter in the Giant of Babel that summons D-Machines. They are not, they're immune to a lot of things, but they're not immune to the weak spell, which Tella learns after completing ordeals. And what the weak spell does is it sets their HP to single digits. These things give 60,000 experience each, and you can get a good amount of experience from that in a very reasonable time frame.
Jenica throwing out the Earth Hammer just like Frostbite did, unfortunately mistimed it, so that only one of the bombs got hit. The timing on AoE spells compared to enemy spawns can be a little finicky in this game. That is definitely a little bit unfortunate.
Yes, that's one of those things that it bites you a few times because, alright, I need this AoE spell to hit, and you go and queue up and hit it in there, and then it only hits one thing because you didn't wait for the curses to select all of them. This is... Mom Bomb is one of the big spots for this to happen. Another big spot for it to happen, Baigen, where he goes and brings back his arms, and you go and queue up a Quake on his body, but his arms aren't there yet, and he recovers them, and you hit Quake, and you only hit the body for some reason.
Yeah. Look, in those circumstances, I just assumed that the mage thought Baigen was mostly armless.
Well, thinking like that is going to go put you in harm's way, though. I think our viewers are going to go and have a very dramatic change of opinions of us.
Jenica going right past Fabul, right past Mount Ordeals, right past Underground, and straight over to Baron.
not feeling the most decisive about where they want to go, but it's easy to go and feel a bit indecisive when you're looking at your power. Only getting Frostbite getting Sand Ruby from Fabul Defense, that is, it's a character, maybe it's a good character, but not really progression, which I'm sure they're looking for.
Indeed. It's also another key item closer to getting that 10 key item boost, and puts him right in the proper place to check the first item that Sheila has, which is an Avenger Sword.
Well, I don't think we've seen Kane yet, right?
We have not seen a Kane nor a Cecil, who are the two boys who can hold on to that Avenger.
I imagine we're going to go and be a lot more interested in that Sand Ruby, and we may be interested in Zot, because Avenger, it's a good late game weapon. It has a solid attack power somewhere around 60 or 80 or so. And it gives 10 to both strength and agility, so it's a great physical weapon. But the real trick for it, it automatically applies the Berserk strats when you equip it, so you get lots of... You just go. Berserk is great in this game.
Yeah, so the Berserk status, not only does it instantly queue up an attack action for the character that it's applied to, meaning that you don't have to waste time playing around with any menus, but it also does more than the maximum damage that you normally do. In this game, when you attack, every time you get a hit, the damage is rolled between... a range is rolled between times 1 and times 1.5. If you're Berserk, you get a 1.5 times on top of that.
It's great. I can't imagine why it's no longer that strong in future games. Speaking of not that strong, we have something... Ooh, we have Wyvern in this spot. This is not... This spot does not have high attack power or magic power, but Mega Nuke doesn't really care about how much attack and magic power you have, because it's still going to hurt a lot to characters. And...
Dumpstering that battle speed.
Yes, so battle speed 1, if you want to get a Star Veil off, you need to do this thing called run buffering, where you try to run away, you get the message box, can't run to pop up, and when there's a message box on screen, the ATB can't advance and things can't go and enter into the queue. When you have battle speed 6, you have a dramatically different amount of time. Like, battle speed 1, I don't think it's even viable for a task to go and enter in commands without losing a turn, where for battle speed 6, you can see, hey, I didn't get a single turn off on any of my characters, now my characters are getting all of their turns. And now Wyvern has fired a Mega Nuke. Alright, so maybe this magic spot isn't as bad as I thought, because Mylon only cast Lit 1 and they decided he needs to have something to do, some magic power to do some damage, but yes, that cost a lot of Star Veils, but it got through Wyvern, which is one of the more rude bosses.
Yeah, and it also got levels on Jenica's mages, which tell pros and cons of he's not going to gain any more magic or any more MP, but getting levels on that Rosa and that Rydia are not only going to give them the survivability that they need as squishy mages, but also gets them closer to their next tier of more powerful spells.
Alright, so in the event we didn't start with the Magma Key, we are getting a giant neon sign that says, "Your way underground is not here." There are 3 bosses who are not allowed to block the path to the underground: Wyvern, Golbez, and Valvalis. Wyvern, as you can see, likes to go and do likes to surprise your party and do a lot of damage. Golbez likes to kill off all except for 2 of your party members, and then do lots of damage with magic attacks. And Valvalis is someone who, when she's spinning, can't be hit in a lot of places, and you need a spreadsheet to see if you can hurt her with magic if you don't have Kane.
So at this point, we've seen all 3 of them.
Yep. And one of them, we know that Baron Castle can go, if we didn't start with the Magma Key, We know that Baron Castle can't go and gate the way underground, or Deals can't gate the way underground. We have a real great sea for our runners, and I think I've seen what the rudest part of this is. You fight Wyvern, you get toasted, and most of your team goes down. You revive your team, get going, rest up to get ready for the next fight, and then you see, now I need to put most of my team down so that the important characters stay up.
Right. Jenica going, I don't want to deal with this today. Well, Frostbite hasn't immediately reset. Granted, Frostbite only used 1-star Veil on the evil dragon, so he's probably feeling a little more comfy. While Jenica is taking on the second boss of the tavern, Odin.
Yeah, this spot's really slow, it's really hard, and is weak to lightning, but you need to get through a few thousand HP. This is where Yang is in the vanilla game. This is where, it's not really a real fight. You go for a few turns, and then after the second kick, Cecil bonks him, and Yang really starts feeling that because he says ouch, which he's not said to any of the other hits in that fight.
Yeah, this is where you really want the Thunderclaw for Yang.
Yeah, Thunderclaw for Yang, Lit Arrows for Rosa, Frostbite taking a reset. Yep, Frostbite's just saying, no, I'm out of here. Which is highly reasonable. There are some ways you can go and make your fight against Golbez a bit more favorable. One is by taking an encounter, killing off your own characters. But Golbez is a slow fight. You need to go and get some very specific things set up for yourself, and it can go horribly, horribly wrong. So,
I'm just gonna shout out the commentator's curse right now and say, how hilarious would it be if Matador Deals was the Darkness Crystal?
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love that so much. Jenicastrife probably loving that pan.
Yeah, she hasn't gone underground yet, so she'll be able to do Fabul and the Sylph Cave both in one shot, which is always the dream. Frostbite, on the other hand, going to check out the other dream that this game has to offer.
I dream of a treasury with all sorts of wonderful glittering gold.
Does the world of Final Fantasy IV have a name?
I don't think so. I think it's like the only thing we hear the planet referred to as is the Blue Planet, so...
Well, in that case, it's time for the Blue Planet's favorite game show. Rate that treasury!
Ooh, Charmrod's nice, Masamune Murasame. Hey, I think we just got confirmation Edge is never going to appear in this seed. The Stardust Rod is pretty nice, though.
And the ribbon is also very nice. If you throw that ribbon on, your character, I believe, is completely immune to status effects, including the death by Golbez Dragon.
Yes, there are a couple status effects you remain not immune to, one of them being Berserk, but otherwise, yeah, you can go and that's a great way to deal with Golbez. You're also, you're also not immune to Paralyze from the ribbon. The Heroin Robe or the Crystal Ring will give paralysis resistance, but the ribbon will not. But it does it covers a lot of resistances. But the instant death is probably the most notable of all of them.
The other boss that allows you to help cheese, of course, is the Evil Wall. It makes you immune to the Crush.
Yes. Evil Wall wants to crush on you, but ribbon is just so precious.
So it looks like Frostbite, with all of those ninja swords, is going up Zot and being like, look, I just want to try and high roll my way into an edge or two. While Jenica is taking the path into Baron Castle, it wouldn't surprise me if she's got the mindset of, I want to clear the Blue Planet. I know I have the Magma Key. I threw it down the well earlier. but I am going to clear out the blue planet before I go underground. And, I can respect that.
Yeah, I can definitely respect clearing overworld. Unfortunately, this is a spot where Valvallis spins and doesn't have perfect magic defense, but she has enough where spells aren't going to go and do a lot to her. Like, that vampire did 700 damage to Odin in the end, did 1 damage to Valvallis. This is a little rude because she also has physical evasion, which is going to be really hard to hit with.
Yeah, whereas Frostbite has... You remember how I was talking about how the ribbon made you immune to Evil Wall's crushes?
Yeah! Turns out that Earth Crystal is like, here's the preparations for going up the Tower of Zot. You're going to want this ribbon, and trust you want the ribbon. Take it.
Look, when Boardface was building the randomizer, he built in some of the principles of game design.
Never send your players into a situation that they can't handle.
And also, give them hints about what tools they're going to need to handle the upcoming situation.
Board is a really generous developer, I guess, because, yeah, that's something that can be very rude.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, does Watery Pass count as a water level?
You go down a waterfall, and then you go and fight an octopus at the end. Kind of hard to go and say... I mean, you go and have several fights on water tiles, so... The boss fight's on water tiles.
Yeah, so I'm willing to call it a water level. Overall, though, Jenica's doing a number on Valvallis. Her two beefy boys are doing a really good job of chipping away for a couple hundred HP per swing.
Yeah, that's... Neither of those feel that great, and also I'm noticing that, so that Ray is gradual petrification, and Tella's looking a lot less than gradually being petrified. He's looking pretty close to being fully petrified. And that evil wall is getting closer and closer to the party. It's, I think we're about to go and see some crushes come out. Granted, we might be able to survive this without the ribbon equipped, because if you go and just have enough turns, you can throw life potions and keep getting people up after they start going down. Both these fights are... These are not very kind fights to our runners. They, without levels, we don't have access to great sources of damage. Sid isn't doing that much damage with his hammer. Yang is doing not too much damage with his punches. Rosa doesn't have great bows, so she's doing also not great damage. Tella gets petrified. Sid is fully petrified. Rosa goes down. This is looking a little bad for Jenica just because Sid was a big source of damage, and I don't see a way of dealing with just getting them back. I don't think Rosa has heal. I don't think that they have any heal potions, so Yang gets weak and then petrified. It's just Rydia up, and that's a reset.
There's the reset. Yeah. The problem with heal, especially in this place, is that Tella knows it, but it also costs 20 MP out of his 90. So you really can't have him cast anything else while you're in there.
Yeah, it's a real expensive spell for someone like Tella. Rosa, yeah, sure, she gets like 100 MP at level 15 or something. She's fine. He's going to have several hundred MP and be able to cast a lot of those. Tella, he's at 90, and he's only going to stay at 90 unless you go and give him Soma drops and use expensive items to increase his MP pool, which I definitely stand by, because Tella having extra MP is really helpful.
We haven't seen any in chests yet, but I believe they were the only thing for sale at Agert. Which, I don't want to think about how that town's economy works. But on Frostbite's side, he is finally through that evil wall.
that is definitely something to go and be happy about. He did get to crush phase and did need to throw life potions. Probably going to want to be very careful about shopping for those soon. You get a starter kit, so you have some, but not having some is not a lot when you're going and using them for going and just throwing bodies at a boss, like on Evil Wall, or if you want to life glitch, that's something where your life potions can go and deplete very rapidly.
Indeed. Jenica finds Star Veils for sale in Kaipo, which is definitely an out-of-the-way shop that I know I don't like going to visit. Looks like she's like, okay, Golbez, bring it.
Round 2. Come on. I have magical augmentation this time. This will totally be a fair fight.
Indeed. Looks like our evil overlord Golbez is being replaced by Eternal today. So that's a nice peek into the second boss of Dwarf Castle for Frostbite, even if he's just finding a pair of twins.
Yeah, but they're finding a pair of the good twins. They're finding Palom and Palom. You know what Palom and Palom can do? Get 23 levels and learn Quake.
Frostbite immediately gets rid of Rydia.
Only
Get
taking one.
Rydia.
I strongly disagree with only taking one. There was a Charm Rod and a Stardust Rod in there. You take two. You can keep. You can have both. Dump like Yang or someone, and there is damage solved. Yes, it doesn't help on the Veil fight, but maybe Baron isn't going to be required. Maybe you can go somewhere else. And Double Quake is really good.
Yeah, of course, it also depends on how comfortable our runners feel getting through Ashura.
There is and just immediately resetting.
Star Veil left, which is definitely going to make that fight challenging until you get a second person able to cast Wall.
Oh, yeah, there's a... Alright, so a bit of an advanced trick is that if the boss is relative agility 1, their statuses don't fall off. So you can do things like cast Wall on them, even with Tella, and it will last forever.
Oof. Jenica takes a bad 50-50 on Golbez's first target. And then
This is one of those times where you can go and try and play the lottery in the Winds of Fate, or you can stack the odds in your favor. There are two things you can do here that I think are on the table, that should be on the table. First and foremost is definitely on the table. Take an encounter, kill off everyone except for 2 party members. And also turn either your melee fighters into pigs or your casters into Lilliputians. Because the status effect priority will prevent the paralyze, and if they're not paralyzed, you do get some turns between when Golbez does his speech and when Shadow Dragon shows up. You can have 2 party members who aren't paralyzed, pop Star Veils, and be in a safe position to go and reflect those spells back. It is something that you see in the vanilla run because you can also use the mute spell. Granted, you don't want to use the mute spell on your casters because, well, they're not going to do a lot of casting when they're silenced.
Frostbite found cabins, exits, and Thor Rages for sale in Troya. Elects not to buy the Thor Rages, probably because, for one, he doesn't know where Odin is yet, so... But also, he knows where Kainazo is, and it's not at a spot that has, like, incredible amounts of HP.
Yeah, that's very fair. That is something where it's like, I don't need to go and be that safe.
Yeah. Does pick up a bunch of life potions from Baron, though.
Hey, that restocks their supply after Evil Wall depleted some of it. And Jenica, I believe, has set their battle speed to 6 to make sure that they don't lose turns and then Golbez is a jerk.
Indeed.
Okay, but They didn't go and have a situation where it's one person's turn and then another person's turn, but before that person can go and queue up their action, Golbez takes his action. So Jenica should be okay to get through this. Golbez is going to do most of the heavy lifting. Fun fact about Golbez, he probably only has about 3,000 HP in this spot, but he has more. Once you hit him directly, he's going to go and say, why? That's a counterattack, and yes, it's kind of an odd thing about Golbez. He doesn't actually, unless you go and do a lot of damage, he is not going to go and actually finish himself off. There you go, there is Golbez finishing himself off. That 60 damage really made him fall to pieces.
Indeed. And Jenica is actually going to give us our first look inside of the shrine on top of the mountain here.
Yes, and that shrine really didn't want to be looked at with the characters that were on, the bosses that were on Ordeals.
Indeed. Frostbite, getting his pan, has already done the Sheila 1 check, but so is going to have to retrace the steps to say hi to the Fae. But, not the worst.
Not the worst, and giving the boot to Rydia. Frostbite's not terribly keen on keeping Rydia around.
Ooh, Jenica pulls a rat tail from the mountain and finds the Magus sisters.
Nothing like the worst boss to find here. Granted, I don't know if we have many terrible ones to find, to be entirely honest. We saw the 2 really bad ones already, and the 3rd is in Baron. So, yeah, kind of hard to go and say there's bad options.
So I am curious why Frostbite got rid of the Rydia there, not having done Dwarf Castle yet.
Frostbite doesn't have Teled, does he?
Does, but he hasn't gone back up the mountain yet.
Right, so you're either committing to going up that mountain, or you're committing to getting warp on a different character, which he has spelled out. He does find Palom in the bed in Kaipo, so you don't need to go to the Tower of Zot to find Palom. You can go find him underground. Unfortunately, you need to take Palom to level 29, which is around 100,000 experience, or 3 sirens, or 3 eggs.
Indeed.
Also finding Darvels.
Yeah. I wonder if Frostbite is just intending to do the sealed cave the honest way.
I mean, it is an objective. It's kind of hard to go and say it's a bad idea. But that does mean that you have to find the Luca key somewhere, and if it's not on Earth, that's leaving a check. Which, granted, if it's not an item on Earth, then it's not really going to be required. Or it's not going to be gaining your way to the Darkness Crystal, so you can make it not required. But it could also be the Adamant, which, say, Luca Key's on the moon, and Sealed Cave gives the Adamant. That's a fair bit of a disadvantage for you if you can't go into the Warp Glitch.
Yeah.
And Jenica is through Mount Ordeals, has unlocked all of Fennel's spells, and it's going to go and have a nice boost to her team with just Tella having access to all the spells. And Frostbite is going and checking that pan. I don't know if Jenica has done that yet.
She has not been underground at all yet. Frostbite getting a package, so if he wants to go do yet another character check, he can go burn down a village.
Yeah, Frostbite's running out of character checks. There's Dwarf Castle, there's Lunar Dais, there's Eblin Cave with a hook, and then there's Package and Giant, which I'm only slightly more predisposed to go and sing through the cutscenes to get a package character than going through the Giant.
With his treasury loadout, I would not be opposed to sitting through all the cutscenes and extra boss fight for an edge.
You know, that's a really good point.
Just because I already have the Masamune and the Murasame ready to go in my bag.
Yeah, that is going to go and be a very big thing because our characters don't have good weapons. Yang doesn't have enough levels to do good damage. Hallam doesn't have Quake. Our teams are a bit DPS deficient.
Yeah, that said, Palom does have a Stardust Rod, so once he gets those levels up there, he will be able to do any boss's weak point for massive damage.
I think every boss is weak. Okay, every boss except for one or two are weak to Quake, so...
Indeed, and the ones that aren't are weak to Virus and Nuke.
Yeah. Yeah, that's turns out, when Palom's words are backed by nuclear weapons, or nuclear power, it's definitely something that, everyone takes a bit more seriously because he hurts. Even if he doesn't have a Stardust Rod, that bluff skill can be used to, I can give myself plus 16 to my Wisdom stat whenever I feel like. As long as I don't change my equipment, because that goes and resets stat buffs. But just bluff up and, yep, let's go and do quad 9s almost guaranteed with a nuke.
Bluff. It's the standing around and shouting of Free Enterprise.
It shouldn't be effective, and it is.
Jenica now running up the Tower of Zot, Frostbite going into the Baron Underground. Both of our runners retreading a place where the other runner had gone into and then noped out of.
Yeah, I wonder, Frostbite still doesn't have great physical DPS. Jenicastrife doesn't have great DPS in general, just not going underground and not getting... I'm gonna be honest, not going underground and not getting damage for just going and trying to find sirens and getting some levels for this team is probably hurting both our runners, because when in doubt, get levels and you'll just do a bit better. Your mages will get more spells, your melee characters will just get more attack multipliers. Yang, particularly, is the punch mage who goes and learns every level how to punch a little bit better, and he really needs those levels to do any appreciable damage, to be honest.
Now, between our two runners, we've only checked one of the shops in the underground. That particular shop being the Tomra item shop. Though, actually, now that I think about it, I think Frostbite also checked the Fabart shop.
I think you're right. I don't remember what was there, but I do agree that it was checked.
I feel like between the two of us, one of us would have remembered if it was sirens.
Not unfair. I trust you more than me, so.
Well, I trust you more than me, so I'm not sure where that's gonna wind us.
Well, I think we're now in a recursive paradox, so. Valvalis is proving to be incredibly rude because Rosa's aim command is really helpful. Because if she's not in a center slot, it just sets her magic for accuracy to 255. So she'll hit Valvalis no matter what her evade is. Sid's hammer is doing good damage and is helping out considerably. And Rosa does have heal, so she is able to go and deal with that petrification to avoid getting just, petrified.
Yeah, while on Jenica's side, she's got a few more levels, and she's got that Stardust Rod on a fully loaded Tella. So that 3,000 damage right out of the gate with Outlet 3. Not as good as a nuke would be, obviously, or a Quake from a Palom, but I don't think she's seen any of the Paloms yet.
No, I don't think that Sandra, I believe, was from Sheila 1, if I'm not mistaken. So
that sounds right. Though, if Jenica is a fan of black mages, and let's face it, who wouldn't be? She is in for a rather nice treat on the other side of this evil wall.
Yeah, as long as you like loud, braggy children, you're going to go and have a really good party because, Tella with Lit 3 is doing good work here. Alums with Quake and a Stardust Rush will do even better. And speaking of even better, Frostbite has an even better time with Valvalis, gets through, and is ready to go and see who is on the Baron Throne. We know it's not two of the rudest choices of Golbez and Wyvern because we've already seen them. So who's your next best guess of who's going to be on this Baron Throne and where Vernon's going to go and say, really, really, you're here?
I'm going to be self-indulgent and call it's going to be a leg.
Ooh.
But it's not. It's a Lunar Sparkle.
I guess we're too starstruck for legs today.
It is the Canadian Nope Rope.
Ogopogo. This spot's not too bad because it has only 4,000 HP or so. Ogopogo, however, says, yeah, let me go and take off half your HP, or half of your maximum HP, because let's be honest, Ogopogo doesn't play fair. Like, he just punched that Fallon who was going to go and heal Sid, which probably made some bad words come out of Frostbite's mouth.
Yep. Though luckily that life potion count will do a decent amount. Looks like the physical hits are coming out fairly reasonably, but you never want to see Ogopogo anywhere.
I mean, I like seeing him in the tower cannon room because I can probably one-shot him before he can go and do a wave. But yeah, Ogopogo is one of the rudest bosses in the game. Probably one of my favorites because he does have a great balance of the waves doing maximum health damage, so you can't just... The beefier you are, the more it works against you. The punches, just, you can't go and... Cover stress might work, but you have to go and heal up for those big waves, so you can't just cover. And he counters any magic you use with Blaze, so you can't just rely on your big heavy-hitting spells either.
Yeah, looks like both of our runners are electing to only take one of the two boisterous children today.
Apparently, they decide that they're not that interested in going and having loud children.
Look, one problem is obnoxious enough.
Yeah, but two columns is extra obnoxious to your enemies.
Yeah, and with the ability to get off Twin Cast at these early levels, there's...
Yeah, that can just be some important early damage. Both Hallam brings one thing to the team: magical damage. Both teams seem to be a bit lacking in damage in general. I would double up. I would actually go and say goodbye to Yang and jenicastrife's team, and I would say goodbye to the second Rosa on Frostbite's team. Do you want the other twin? Do you want the discount twin?
I mean, I think I saw a Demarine in chat, so I think I have to say yes.
Oh, good. I can go and believe Demarine. You say no when you already have two Rosas and you know where Palums are. You don't need discount Rosa.
It looks like Jenica's got the wall up on Ashura, so all of that healing magic that the boss usually casts on herself is getting bounced back onto your party.
Yeah, that is always helpful. That is something that I did not go and consider when I was a small child and had a lot of trouble actually beating Ashura.
Yeah. It's always one of those things where it's like, wait, that spell works on bosses?
Yes.
Frostbite pulled a ninja hat out of the Baron bucket.
That stings a bit. Not even going to check the Baron Throne, just going somewhere else. Going to
get the Shield 2 check, I'm assuming.
Okay. Yeah, yes, they did go down and hit Yang with the pan, but they never turned the pan back in, I'm guessing.
Yeah, haven't had the excuse to get back up this way yet.
And buying an Elven Bow, I approve. Elven Bow, really good bow. Actually, not even going back to the Sheila 2.
Oh, my bad. I forgot, Frostbite did turn in the pan earlier. Got a tower key for his troubles.
Right, that explains some things. But that Elven Bow can be very helpful because Rosa doesn't get the best physical stats, but a short bow has terrible everything.
Indeed. Frostbite, having the tower key in his pocket, going up the tower, probably going to use the key.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
But
said,
the physicals from Ashura are coming out pretty painfully over on Jenica's side.
Ashura is.
The two main physical attackers are doing pretty okay, but you never want to see your mages napping.
Yeah, it's Ashura might be able to throw enough healing to keep you alive, but you need to make sure that things are going your way and going to the right people. And Tella, Sid and Yang are both berserk, so they're throwing out damage. They're not doing the worst damage, but only seeing 400 and 200? There we go. Ashura's down. That is Tower of Zot completed on Jenica's side. Hopefully she's better rewarded than Frostbite. Frostbite was with the Baron check. Oh, only give me a ninja hat.
Well, if nothing else, it does give Rosa the ability to cast Exit.
Yeah, that is a non-insubstantial benefit.
Oh no. Coin toss it. Who's on the top of tower?
Let's see. So we've seen Ogopogo, Valvalis, Wyvern, Golbez, Evil Wall, Ashura, and none of these overworld spots have had good key items. I'm saying Gauntlet.
Nope.
Apparently, the trick to the seed is to go underground and just dodge all the awful bosses then.
Right?
Free experience on the top of tower.
And all of the bad bosses are just hanging out on the overworld.
I imagine our runners are getting a bit frustrated because we're 53 minutes into the seed and they're still struggling to clear the overworld. This is not where you want to be. This is you do not feel good in these situations. I don't blame either of our runners if they're feeling frustrated because I can laugh at this. This overworld is hilariously evil. Our runners are probably just sitting there thinking, oh, why? Where are the good bosses to fight?
They're all, being hipsters, hanging out in the underground.
Yeah.
Jenica finally making her way underground. I'm not sure how she's feeling deciding to completely fade the underground until now, given that she had access from the word go.
Yeah, that's one of those things that...
It's definitely one of those questions that I know I will be interested in asking her about in the interview.
Yes, that is a very, very fair thing. And Frostbite through, I didn't quite see what item they got from the top of the tower.
It was another Mura.
Masamune from...
If you really, really want the confirmation that you will not get an edge in this seed, just look at all the ninja swords the seed is handing out.
I'll say. Also, we're finding Dark Knight Cecil down here doing respectable damage and not taking damage very respectably. Young, like punching.
An inverse of the karate fight, almost.
It's Yang saying, Cecil, bam, go become a paladin. This is your warning.
Ow!
Isn't this supposed to go the other way? And another free boss, well, free. Depending on your definition of the word free, it costs a lot of Star Veils to go and kill Bahamut for free, but Wall does a lot of bad things to Bahamut because Mega Nuke is reflectable, and hey, you can go, you don't have DPS? Make Bahamut your DPS. Use Star Veils and you can do all sorts of damage to this Mega Nuke casting dragon.
Alright, how many Star Veils? Only the 2.
Only 1, actually. Tella just cast Wall on himself, so Jenica making those Star Veils go far, getting good returns for this fight, but it's going into the next fight with only 2 characters. Maybe 3 if there's someone that we want to take here.
Yeah. Does get Berserk on the Rosa, which is nice.
Yes, Berserk on Rosa is a huge thing to get. There's a Knizo that Jenica saw it. Not.
Sadly, we don't have any Artemis bows yet, so second Rosa is slightly less appealing.
The Seed. The best melee fighters we've seen are Yang and Sid. The Seed is it's really telling you exactly how it feels about the idea of you having a melee fighter.
So I feel like the Seed is telling me, hey, do you know Reflect Strats?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So,
You wanna?
how do you feel about Reflect Strats and going to Threemus with all mage teams?
Oops, all mages.
Since the exception, Yang is the punch mage. And Tella showing off that you can dodge waves if you have low enough magic power. And Kenizo goes, well, pretty much the same way his normal fight goes. Down in 1 lit 3. But here's the moment of truth. Ooh.
Down in 1 lit 3 can be sung to the Fraggle Rock theme, and that's the important part here.
Down in 1 lit 3. Down in 1 lit 3.
In 1 lit 3.
You're right, it is. It tracks really nicely. So Jenica is going to go and have a chance to see what is at this dwarf castle, and then Warplich to go and see what's in Sealed Cave.
Yeah, with Tella, she does have access to that work spell.
Yeah, Tella doesn't go and get every black magic spell in the game. He doesn't go. There's a few that he doesn't remember, but Warp one of them. And we get a twin harp. Are we going to get music?
So I love the music in this game.
The people who go and do the special music are really great. And I think we had a bit of a stutter on Jenica's stream, so yep, it stuttered right past the key item. So we'll have to go and get a key item, a check of their inventory sometime. Let's see if we can spot something. Hourglass Shoes, yes, you want those. Do you want to sell more to go and buy them? Okay, we'll have to go and try and get a peek at their inventory later. But you have, Jenica still has not gone down to the Fey March and has not turned in their pan. We know that it's not progression, but they don't know that. That is something that they are probably going to feel a bit compelled to go and grab. Oh, that was the Luca key? That was a vanilla Luca key? That is Jenica in I need to find darkness to go mode. That is a required objective if you can get through Steel Cave. Which, again, it can't be anything that bad because we've already dealt with all the awful stuff.
I mean, so at that spot, it could be Rubicante, who is always nasty.
Rubicante is, yeah.
That spot is super fast, right?
Super fast and super high magic power.
Yeah, so Rubicante is definitely up there. It could be the slightly less dope rope, Leviathan. Trying to think of what other things we haven't seen yet.
Let's see. Magic-based bosses we have not seen. It's actually very few of them. Elements could be there, but you can go and bypass that with Reflect Strats, but that can be tricky, and it is a very fast spot, so you have to be very confident as to how you're going doing things. And we... Who else? I need to go and pull up Skull's Tracker to go and take a look at bosses. We haven't seen the Baron Guards or the Kaipo Guards. Both of those are free. We haven't seen the Dark Imps. Those are free. Have we seen Baigen already?
I've not seen Baigen yet.
So Baigen can be rude, and that Vampire is going to hurt. Those are... I mean, again, we've seen Golbez and Wyvern. Those are the two scariest options for that spot. Because they use magic a lot, and their magic hurts in general, and hurts even more when it's backed by stupidly high magic stats.
Yeah, looks like down in the Feymarsh Thrones, we have Karate at Leviathan, and then some orbs over on the Queen spot.
If we find a hook on Earth, we might be able to find the Cecil. Otherwise, if that Yang is holding the darkness, you have to fight him fairly in that spot, and that's gonna hurt. That is going to do mean things to your team of characters who don't use heavy armor except for Sid.
Yeah. Have we seen illusions for sale?
I don't remember. I think we might have seen them in Tamra, or I could be misremembering thinking of the seed I played today.
Also, chat is mentioning that Frostbite is walking around with a hook in inventory.
Okay, so we must have missed where they picked that up. So,
Chat is saying the Babel Cannon.
Okay, a vanilla hook, a vanilla Luka key. I didn't realize we had Dathis rolling this.
It is going to be interesting to see what that rat tail offers, because if that's an adamant or a darkness or even a pass, this could be really interesting depending on how long it takes Jenica to get into the tower.
Yeah, that's I mean, how long it's going to take for Jenica to go and turn in their pan? Guys are going and doing that now. That tower key is something that would encourage me to go and turn in a pan.
Alright, so the rat tail is just a strength ring, which, while very, very good, is not progression.
Yeah, that's Alright, hold up. We found a ninja hat and a strength ring from checks today. I'm gonna go and feel a bit upset. I'm gonna feel like I'm getting a little shorted on these. You can get stuff like crystal swords and excals from this. And you're getting items you can buy from a lot of shops. I'm feeling a bit like someone ran out at the last second and is giving me hand-me-downs.
We got an Avenger. What more do you want?
Someone to use it!
Frostbite pulls a power shirt out of the Eblin Cave.
Power shirt's gonna be nice if you can go and do damage.
Eblin has a fine vintage from their winery this year.
Apparently they've been brewing something other than sake.
Bacchus wine is a really good consumable item that anyone who drinks it gets berserked.
Yeah, that is
And we've already been extolling the virtues of berserking.
Oh, yeah.
One can imagine how useful that is.
Turns out, when you don't have to have your white mages spending their turns berserking characters, and instead can spend their turns healing the characters after they take a bunch of damage because they can berserk themselves, that's not too shabby. Also, seeing a rune axe in shop, I believe, has given our, yes, Frostbite's debating mightily, and yes, I want the rune axe. Frostbite has not come back to kill Ashura, has he?
Mm-hmm.
Frostbite is going to get some serious revenge on Ashura because that axe does quadruple damage against mages, and Sid's probably going to do a lot of damage with it.
Yeah, and chat is also pointing out that since the dwarves had the Luka key, and the sealed cave had the harp, we have a chain of key items that does not involve going to the moon there. Therefore, we could have required music to get to the moon.
That would be great. The thing that would be better?
Avenger King?
Well, I mean, that's just going to go make everything super fun and easy. I don't think we really want that for our runners, right?
I mean, I'm not sure we necessarily want that for our runners, but I'm sure our runners want that for themselves. And that's exactly what Frostbite has picked up.
Yeah, no, you're not getting any. You don't get to save as part of this team. We found someone who can go and hit things and hurt things. they get to join the team.
Yeah. The real question is, if you slap that Avenger on Kane right now, what bosses are left in the pool that would punish you?
There's the CPU that we know of in Feymarch, and there's D-Lunars around. And beyond that, not many. Wyvern's down, Pain Man's down. Pain Man, you had to get through Pain Man in order to get Kane, which interesting turn of events. Cecil is blocking the access to the only Kane in the seed, where normally Cecil is completely bereft of any access to Kane because he keeps going into finding mysterious, new and exciting ways to get knocked out. But Jenica is going to the Chocobo Forest by Toria and is looking for a black Chocobo.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get things started in the Magni's cave tonight. Bum, bum, bum.
Now I feel a little bad that I can't go and follow for the second verse because that was great.
It just means you can steal it for next time.
Sounds good. But yes, Jenica, this is not a very popular check because Cave Magnus takes a fair bit. It's a fair bit of a trek out. It's a fair bit of trek in. It's a fair bit of a cutscene. But sometimes you have to face the music.
You gotta do it for the fans.
Indeed. And Frostbite is... Well, you're going to see how big of a fan they are of Palom again, because I don't think they're going to be adding any more to the team, but we'll see. Jenica is a fan of Palom, but this is actually a spot where Palom's going to be rather disappointing, because this spot, any boss here is going to have extremely high magic power.
Indeed.
Or excuse me, not magic power, magic defense. This spot has incredibly high magic defense. Magic power and attack power is still reasonable for this time in the game.
Yeah, this isn't Gen 1 Pokemon.
Yes. Let's go and have the special stat be both magic attack and magic power, and anything that has it is going to dominate anything that doesn't. And the party is down, Edward is leaving the bed. I will go stop talking so we can go and listen to the wonderful music we have coming up today. Finished Final Fantasy VIII, but I know this song, and with Machine Gun from Final Fantasy VIII, is a fantastic song. Edward is shredding on his harp, and the Dark Imps are here. The Dark Imps they're gonna have high magic power with a punch bit. I could be able to do much help.
Yeah, click Berserk up on your boys, and they're gonna go down pretty fast.
If you're feeling extra cheeky, they might have high magic resistance, but they're not immune to magic, so you can go and cast Science Bullet and fit them all into little potions.
coffins are also another boss that's cheesable. If they're in a particular rude spot, the coffins our runners have could be a tool they use to get by them.
Yes. These are the vanilla components of the super cannon where Dark Accessible was today. They're not actually bosses. This is a normal enemy encounter that you can go and find. Though they don't go and keep boss immunity when they get added to the boss pool. But Frostway is through Tower of Zot. They're going to be rewarded with exit on their roads, which, because they don't have talent, that's actually not a terrible reward. The Masamune that you're going to get here is going to probably feel like a really bad reward unless we find Edge on the Moon or something.
And Jenica is through the Dark Imps, did a really good job on her life glitching them.
Yeah, maximizing your experience is very important. Let's see if we get a Darkness Crystal or if we have to go through Feymarch.
That said, you've got Quake on the Kid. Huh. Okay, game.
Well. Alright, we also have a Baron Throne as well. So we have Feymarch, the Basement Throne, as the last checks to go and get off the overworld. Also, we have no rabbit holes left. Every rabbit hole has been just examined and found lacking.
Indeed. It looks like Frostbite is giving us our Baron Throne check.
This is, I mean, we don't have to worry about it being something super awful. I lied.
So, this is what we lovingly call the Alternate Gauntlet. The Famul Gauntlet is normally a bunch of fairly early game enemies, and normally what this game does is it scales them to the appropriate levels. But that's boring. So what if instead of scaling up those fairly generic enemies, we instead pulled enemies from a nearby pool?
In this case, not so nearby, it's the Feymarch pool. But, well, that's fitting because this is one of the summon bosses and the most reasonable thing to go and take for that. And I believe Rosa has mute arrows or an elven bow because that did a lot of damage to that conjurer. 2 fits down, 3 to go. Meanwhile,
Yeah, I believe... Sorry.
I was just going to say, Jenica is going to the Sealed Cave to go and get that objective complete, so...
Yeah, that's going to be a fair bit of experience, but I believe Frostbite was the one who bought the elven bow.
Yes, that is going to go. He also has the Runex as well. These 3 conjurers, they're going to take damage if Sid ever gets the turn.
Yeah, and that Zerked up Kane with that Avenger is going to do a number on just basically the rest of the seed.
You know, I'm really impressed with the number of conjurers that are in this pool. Hey, there's a Clapper. This just got a lot worse. And it got a lot better because there's still the Hourglass. So, this is going to be not so awful. Except for Blitz. Blitz is awful. Blitz is mean. Blitz is 50% of your damage, or plus 50% of your max health is damage. Lightning damage, you can go and resist it with a Tiara, but it still really hurts. This guy, I don't think Frostbite wants to do a Clapper grind. I think they want to do anything but a Clapper grind. I think if they do a Clapper grind, they're going to go and go for anything else. And Keldon is at the boss spot for Evil Wall. Probably the least rude of all of the moon bosses because, let's be honest, well, all the other moon bosses are much more scary. Unless Plague, if you have certain pieces of knowledge about the game.
Plague, for an experienced runner, is effectively a free boss.
Unless you're doing a solo character seed, then he's terrifying. Then
I don't even want to think about that.
You know how you say that agility is black magic?
Yes.
Agility for a solo character is even more black magic.
Oh gods. Looked like the white shirt was all that Frostbite got for clearing that gauntlet. So does that mean it has to be our Feymarch bosses?
Yep. Yep. It is guaranteed to be behind either the Young, for which we have 0 Cecils available because we have seen every single character spot on Earth, or it's behind CPU. You know who I'm going to go and try and take out first?
CPU.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep. So, Lecky, do you like blink or float strats?
I really like blink strats, I'll be honest.
I don't blame you. Their float strats can go be pretty RNG. What I'm talking about is ways to get through CPU. CPU is 3 orbs. A main body, a defender node that heals the main body, and an attacker node that does 10% of your maximum HP to all of your characters. The strat is you kill the defender node because you don't want to go through the healer doing 10% of the CPU's max health is healing every round. So you kill that, and then you have the CPU and the attacker node. And you don't want to go and kill the attacker node because if it's just the CPU left, well, it casts Globe 199, kills 2 of your characters pretty much, and then it revives the attacker and defender node. So usually you're going in trying to very carefully just do damage to the CPU. And that's really annoying because Berserk is a great spell. You can't control which character they're going to hit though, so it's a lot less of a great spell in that situation.
Additionally, the CPU node knows one spell, Wall. So
Yeah.
you can't even have your mages focus fire it down.
Nope. Game does not want you to have fun on that fight. Game wants you to think long and hard about how you're doing this. We don't like thinking long and hard. We like thinking nice and fast. So you can do some tricks. One is you can berserk your characters anyways and hope, or you can cast Blink on the attacker node because the attacker, well, Blink nullifies the next 2 physical attacks. So you just keep throwing out Blink. The other strat is a bit more RNG. You put a wall on one of your characters, you cast Float, and then you hope that it goes and hits the attacker node, so when Quake is cast, it misses it. Because the CPU, even though it looks like it's floating, isn't actually floating.
Cast Float on the attacker node directly?
No, Float is an auto-target full part. It automatically targets the full party when casting combat. You can't kill it.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that because I don't usually cast it in battle, and when I cast it out of battle, I have to do the single target nonsense.
Yeah, you can go and multi-target out of combat as well, to be honest.
Yeah, huh.
But
It's,
yeah,
well, I've found it super important to use, of course.
yes, it's one of those things where in Free Enterprise, you're only casting Float in the CPU fight and a Cataseed where you need to go through all of Still Cave and you don't want to go and heal up in front of every single chest.
Also, if the trapped boxes may or may not contain key items.
Yes. Well, to me, KT is Cataseed, but I'm also...
Fair. Jenica is heading up the Tower of Babel. I don't blame her at all. There is never a good reason to not try and fade the king and queen of the Feymarch.
Yes, they are the worst checks on Earth. They're functionally moon bosses on Earth. Only you don't have access to the moon boss fight. And unless I'm terribly mistaken, I believe we have not... if there are sirens in the sea, they're on the moon, so... This is being really mean to our runners. For a seed that started with the Magma Key, this is really rude to our runners. So let's see, the things we have not seen are Darkness Crystal, Adamant, Spoon, and Pinktail. Darkness Crystal's the only one that has to be on Earth. We know it's one of the 2 Feymarch bosses. And the other 3 are just kind of nice to have things. It's really hard to go and say that spoons. We have the spoon flag on this flag set. It allows Eddie to use the spoon as a weapon, but we haven't seen Eddie anywhere. So
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. You can also have Edge throw it, who we haven't seen anywhere as well. So still doesn't matter. The Pink Tail will give you 1 piece of guaranteed tier 7 gear because normally it's supposed to give you an Atom Armor, and we said no, Atom Armors are too strong. You're not allowed to have that much fun. So take one of these random pieces of tier 7 gear. Oh, and Frostbite did not go and Warp Glitch, and just, I guess when they saw the Luca key, they decided, I'm not going to Warp Glitch, I'm just going to go and grab this item. Actually, I guess they had Paloms, and they didn't go and grind them up because there are no Sirens, and they couldn't get them 300,000 experience. Or 100,000 experience, excuse me. So yeah.
Jenica's going to get her hook shortly, and Frostbite is going to clear the Pale Dim and get his next objective out of the way.
Yes, and they have the Twin Harp now, so they can do that as well and go through the Dark Imps. And Jenica will be able to go and check that hook to see if there's a Cane there. They might go and add them to their party because, let's be honest, I don't think the current batch of melee fighters are really pulling their weight. Though, looking at how things are, I would probably get rid of Sid at this point because Young is getting close to the point where he's actually going to be helpful. And what I missed the first time, Moon Weapon. Ninja weapons everywhere from places that should be giving you key items.
Ninjas, they're stealthy. You can't actually see them.
You know, this for someone who doesn't have a webcam and will never have one, that feels very true. And yes, to answer your question from chat, Jenica does not have Cane because Cane is behind Hook. Hook is behind this super cannon. She is going to go and see Dark Knight Cecil there. It's probably not even going to have to input a command for Cane to go and succumb to his instincts and stab Cecil, not even in the back this time, just to the face. Alright, Kane's not in her party. I am really with it. I'm sorry. Young is going to go and punch. Oh. Young is choosing to go and take the passive piece this time, and is choosing to not give in to his aggressive instincts, going in, channeling yin and yang, aggression and passive, focusing his energy to not just punch his jerk in the face.
Indeed.
And when you don't go and do that to Cecil, he goes through 3 dark waves, and then he gives a little speech about justice, and then he decides, alright, you people are boring, I'm leaving.
Peace, I'm out of here.
Yeah, you guys apparently got that part figured out, so yes, go. So I think Jenica has not done the Baron Throne, which has not completed Baron in general yet, if I'm not mistaken. So they can go back there and deal with Valvalis. And then they'll be stuck with the awful Feymarch, while Frostbite is going to go and do Twin Harp, which I'm sure they are not feeling good about. I'm sure neither of our runner is feeling really good about their position at the moment, because both of them are like, this has been open since the start of the game. I haven't checked it yet. What's here? And how bad is this? Why is my opponent not done yet? The reason, of course, being that your opponent is actually having just as bad a time as you are. And yes, to answer your question from chat, Demus has already been found. Demus was on Mount Hobbs and gave a white shirt, I believe.
Yeah, Frostbite going to give us our reprise of Man with the Machine Gun. Jenica now has her hook. Gonna go see how punished the rat tail leaves her today.
You know, I want to just state how impressed I am that every single rabbit hole chain has been on Earth. There are no gating key items left for the moon. The moon just has terminal key items.
Which is really exciting to see. Jenica checking Cave Emblem first. Going to be pleasantly surprised with a Kane to go with her Avenger.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I feel like, yes, get in my party.
Also, with the Bacchus line for all the other.
They're, the Berserkers are going to be partying with this party, and Kane is going to be all the more fun, I'm guessing. Looking at the shop and seeing Sorcerer Robe, yeah, that's a pretty good piece of equipment. It gives +5 black and white casting magic stats, and that can be really helpful. Not as impressed with the weapon shop because, well, they already have a Stardust Dryad and they already built the Shura, so Rune Axe is not something that sticks out to them. And that Darkness fight going a fair bit faster for Frostbite than it did for Jenica because Kane decided to do all the work. And speaking of Kane doing all the work, Jenicastrife is now getting their Kane. We're going to see if they add them to your party. I think with an Avenger in your inventory, you're adding them to your party. And goodbye to Sid. Yes, Sid is, I don't disagree with this. Sid is definitely falling off at this point, and Yang is going to go and get... Young's going to get exponentially stronger. Sid is going to go and be gaining less and less power each level. But now Frostbite has the news that he has in the past. He has cleared all of the other checks on Earth, and there's only 2 checks left.
Indeed. So, we're back to a coin toss. What do you think it's going to be?
Yang seems like the more infinitely rude one, so naturally that's where it's going to be, I think. CPU is annoying, but it's going to go and be... That Leviathan spot has such high physical attack power. And Kane's the only one who can wear physical armor. You're going to want to go and spam blinks, I think, to try and get through that. Frostbite does have Sid and is going to be able to go and throw up some healing, or not some healing, not throw up much damage, but you can throw the curse ring on Sid and use Rosa and Tella to throw Blink. And meanwhile, Jenicastrife is going back into Baron and is going to be trying to go and clear through that with their newly minted Cane. Don't know if they're going to go and jump or if they're just going to use the fact that they have dramatically more levels to beat Valence's mission this time. Hey, do you want weapons for Edge? Here, buy some. I hear you have other ninja swords you can sell to finance this.
Are you sure you don't want more ninja swords?
We
Come
hear you
on.
got a collection going on. We think you're going to be a real great person to buy these weapons for.
All right, Frostbite is into the orb fight.
Definitely expect this because, no, I don't want to take that fight. I never want to take that fight.
Was that Kane still swinging that Avenger?
Ooh. Well, we're going for blink strats.
Heck yeah.
And Rosa is throwing on more arrows because they've ran out. Doing decent damage. Just need to keep blinks up. Oh, this is going to be... Are we going to go and try float strats as well? Are we going to go for combined blink strats and float strats? Because I'm here for it.
Look.
Nope, we're just going for straight reflex strats on this one.
You heard of first strat, but what about second strats?
Getting the roll for this, hitting the CPU directly, that is definitely what you want to see. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit tense right now. Also, Jenicastrife is going and choosing to use Kane to jump and sling spells at Novalis to break her spin. So Novalis is probably not going to last very long in this fight. And down she goes.
Indeed. This scene is like a textbook example of how differently fights can go between going in early versus going in later.
Yeah. And it's really easy to forget who your Baron boss is, but sometimes that fights you hard. Because Jenica had to be early with, yeah, no, I can't actually get through this because no one's doing enough damage. But Frostbite, meanwhile, getting through the CPU fight. Finding Ogopogo and is taking some damage. Kane's going to be taking a lot less damage than Yang, but Yang's going to be having a lot more health left over anyways. And Jenica opting not to go and put the Avenger on Kane, which understandable to not want to go and just charge into some fights with that on, but it is his best weapon by a long shot, so I say heck to actually fighting, like worrying about what Kane's hitting, just let him hit everything as hard as he can.
When in doubt, stabs and all.
And here I thought you were going to say, when in doubt, zerk it out.
That's also good.
Just don't need to worry about what the enemy is doing. Just keep zerking, and I'm pretty sure the enemy will stop being an issue, except for CPU. Then you're going to go and have some problems. You need to apply some blinks. But CPU is... This is why everyone hates CPU. It's a long, slow fight that you can't go and do in any fast or efficient way because all of your options are...
Yeah, it's... For the most part, it is fairly straightforward in a lot of places because the only damage it's doing does come from that attacker, but it just takes forever.
Yeah, this is one of the few fights where Rydia really shines because Rydia goes and gets summons which can bypass wall. And that turns out to be really helpful when you have Sylph, a single target summon who also heals your team.
Indeed. Jenica running up, going to go see who's in the bed, going to find nothing but a twin.
Gonna find another Palom, and I think they already had that option, so yep, just saying goodbye, exit.
Enjoy your nap, kid. Enjoy your nap.
And while we're going and watching Frostbite still get through this fight, and Jenica probably going to be doing the Alt Gauntlet unless they decide to skip it. Let's see. CPU is down. We will be having final confirmation as to where the Darkness Crystal is. Is it behind CPU or is it behind Young? And is Frostbite going to have to clear literally every single check in the blue planet to get to the moon?
You never want to last location a thing, but here we go.
Oh, this has just been such a brutal slog of a seed. We're going to the moon! Yang is getting left. Frostbite left Yang somewhere, left him in Evelyn Cave, and is not interested in seeing him again. He's gone. Jenicastrife is going to check this, and if they reset out and go to the CPU fight, they're going to have a better chance than if they go and fight through this unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
But now Frostbite has a new question. How do they gain levels for Z? You do have No, they don't have Tela.
So step one, you take out whatever's at Bahamut.
If whatever's at Bahamut is pretty rude, though, you're going to want to get levels, and that's going to be a trick for Frostbite without that Tela. We are going to see a character on the moon, so maybe there's an edge there. With edge, you can steal sirens and have someone to use all those ninja swords. You can also have sirens for sale on the moon itself. Oh, this. I don't know if it would be amusing or just plain rude for Yang at the Leviathan spot to have the adamant.
That would be... I'm going to go with incredible. Because both of our runners have the pass. If Jenica gets through this and says, nah, I don't want to deal with those orbs, I will put up with the Yang and try to fight my way through that.
That's pretty fair, and Frostbite is going and checking the Dwarf Castle. Maybe I've just simply forgotten that sirens were sale here. No, they're getting hourglasses, though. Hourglasses, if you want to grind the moon, makes those gold dragon fights a lot more free.
Indeed. Sadly, Jenica hitting the inverse problem with the Avenger. When you swap it out in battle, because of the quirks of the programming around the Berserk status, your stats for your weapon doesn't update. Luckily, this is a gauntlet fight, so hopefully I think that means it'll update for this one?
Yes, because it's going with fresh stats, because you're going to a new fight. Yeah, that's the damage you want to see.
That's that chef's kiss perfection.
That's Kane going and living up to his true instincts of stab them all. And if you think I'm being mean to Kane, he gets a weapon in the GBA version, I think, called Abel's Lance. The devs know exactly what they're doing. There are sirens on the moon. We have a grind option.
All right.
This now is a much more safe sea to deal with, because you go to Cape Bahamut, you go to the second floor, you use a couple sirens to go and get 180,000 experience from 2 gold dragon fights, if you life glitch one of them. And then you see whoever is there and laugh as you are going to be at your Zeromus levels and are going to probably stomp it.
So the question then is, if Jenica decides to do the karate spot first, and finds the adamant rock, what are her options at that point? Because Frostbite, frankly, has a bit of a commanding lead at this point.
Jenicastrife has the option of doing the age-old, incredibly forgotten door grind.
Ah, yes. Well, well. Oh my god.
They ran out of hard bosses and put the easy one at the very end.
This seed is something else.
I'm sorry. This,
So, for those of you who don't understand, the King Queen Evelyn boss fight is free. As long as you can survive the Fire 1 and Fire 2 casts, they, just like Dark Knight Cecil, will vanish. Unlike Dark Knight Cecil, Fire 1 and Fire 2 are not very strong spells. So, for the most part, they are considered just a blank. Frostbite given the amount of damage the bosses are putting out, is not going to wipe here, and effectively was in go mode the moment he saw who was here.
Yep. That's Oh, hey, a pigtail. Do you want to go and get a piece of Tier 7 loot back on Earth? I don't think they want to, because it's probably another Masamune.
And you've got Avenger Kane. You just go.
There's also a character on the dais. If it's Edge, I am going to lose it again. I'm sorry. This is just hilarious. That would actually get me to not grind here to go and just start grinding in there.
I think there is a rationale to put off the grind until you check the character on the looter dice, just in case it's someone you want to slingshot.
Yep. Or just, like, add to your party in general. So I guess Frostbite has a question, who does the anchor with? Sid, probably, but then you're, it looks like they're berserking at Rosa, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's an interesting composition, to be sure. I've definitely been known to be a fan of the double Rosa strats, but I don't think we've seen that much in the way of amazing bows beyond the Elven one.
Yeah, that's, I learned rather recently that Rosa with an Elven bow and poison arrows isn't doing that much on Threemus. Turns out she's only doing like 500 damage when berserk, maybe 900 damage.
Those just aren't the numbers you want to be seeing.
No. But Frostbite decided I'm grinding here.
Yeah. Frostbite has decided that he is comfy with his character. He wants to get his levels. He wants to go see who he wants to beat the seed. Ooh, the Entangle is rough.
Entangle Arcane is a little funny, in my opinion. Just the seed's rude, and it's decided it doesn't want to give up its rudeness at all. But that heal spell that we went and said was really expensive for Tella, not so expensive for Rosa when she's level 40-something. And answer question from chat. Frostbite's not going to have the option. Oh, actually, Frostbite is going to have the option of not even checking the character on the dais. We do have a pass. They can. It is probably better to just leave the moon, come back to Earth, park in front of Toria, and use your pass.
I do appreciate Jenica going back and forth a little bit, trying to decide which poison she wants to take today.
Do I want a fast death or a slow death? This is actually a serious decision because neither of these are pleasant. Cure 4 on... Holy. I'm sorry. Cure 4 on Rosa with no sirens on Earth and having just simply killed everything. That's a lot of experience.
Yes.
This seed has been really mean to our runners, and it started with a Magma Key for free. If you told me that, laugh in your face. And now I'd feel really silly about that.
Right?
It's just... It's always rude when the Feymarch bosses have the Darkness Crystal. It's even ruder when you don't have a way to grind on Earth. But it's just that extra bit beyond when you get every single rabbit hole you can go down to not do that. It's just really, really mean at that point.
Here comes out the Globe 199.
Yeah, really, really mean. Yeah, Globe 199 isn't instant death. It's just an incredibly high magic multiplier spell that, unless you take it at a Wyvern spot with endgame level characters, you're probably just going to die from that because it'll do quad 9s.
Indeed.
And yeah, the Jenicastrife going for just straight damage and not having the best time of it just because, well, when you go and do straight damage and just do wild and free damage, you kind of get Globe 199. And resurrecting characters in this fight is actually a bit tricky because if they revive without enough HP to survive a Mazer, they're just going straight back down again. And Frostbite is going parked in front of Toria, walking to the castle, doing a mistake I do all the time. It's like, yes, go to Z, go to castle. No, not castle. Go to town. Town is placed to Z fight. And speaking of the Z fight, I believe we have a little question to ask.
Right. So you've noticed we've seen a number of rude bosses in a number of rude places. That said, there is one boss who is so rude that he's not in the normal boss pool. Zeromus's big bangs are rough, and I don't care what stats you give the boy. So we leave him on the moon. That's not fun. That's not random. So we decide to, play around a little. Randomize the sprite that you see after you throw a crystal. Which, of course, leads us to a super, super important question. Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
You have any favorite guesses? I'm trying to think of who would be most fitting, and I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
I'm gonna go for the Datara pick and say Ultramus.
This seems like a situation that would end with Ultras. You run around endlessly, accomplish a lot of nothing for a while, and then you have to deal with Ultras.
He's the octopus, kids.
Ooh, did Frostbite go into the Z fight with the Avenger equipped on Kain?
Potentially?
That could be bad. Also, I do not know. Oh, okay. Kain is fine.
I don't know this character.
Gala? Is this something that Board did and you didn't? Or is this going to be something where you're going to go and give us a great story?
Chat is saying it's from Mother 1.
Okay. In a way, that makes sense, because I've never played that series, and this looks like something, from what I know about this series, really likes to go and have very strange final bosses.
Indeed.
Well, really strange everything, to be honest.
Apparently this is who Gygus was, which checks out. Equally terrifying.
I'm trying to go and figure out the tenses of that, and I'm not having any success. Ooh, and unfortunately, Jenicastrife is took a wipe on their CPU fight and is going to be going in for a second shot. Not going in with the Avenger equipped, going in with an Icebrand equipped. Definitely don't blame that on that. Meanwhile, Frostbite is going, and he's got newfound Palom. He's got a lot of spells, so this is probably going to go pretty well for Frostbite.
Indeed.
Something that's gone and caused me a bit of stress, just to reflect back on the seed more, is the number of times I've gone and cleared more than 20 key item locations for a seed, because you never feel good about that. You always feel scared about, did my opponent go and skip the things I wasted time on? Do they go and do something else? Do they go somewhere else? And here, both of our runners ended up going and taking, while very different paths through them, hit all of the spots and went to their bosses in... They went to the final two bosses in the same order, all things considered.
Yeah, I think Jenica just got a little more punished on some of the wipes, and also I think some of her routing was just that little bit less efficient, which allowed Frostbite to take the lead.
Yeah, Jenica had that wipe in Baron Castle where there was a long fight with Alice that eventually ended in the wipe. Then you have to walk all the way out of Baron Castle. Yes, Frostbite had the wipe to Ashura and walked out of Zot, but that was an instant wipe for Frostbite. Frostbite saw Ashura, said, "Nope, I'm out." Left, didn't come back there until much later, wasn't rewarded for it. But when they went back there, they went and took care of it very quickly, and that was something that really just kind of helped Frostbite out a bit. Jenica went and did a lot of good things in this race, and just when the Fameworks buses have your Darkness Crystal and you don't have Sirens on Earth, it can get really, really, really rude.
Yeah, both our runners played super, super well tonight. And really, I think this just came down to making the wrong, slightly more punishing plays, which, anyone could have done. This seed could have very easily gone the other way.
Exactly.
And right. Zeronis is by no means a trivial fight.
Yes, this is still... It's not over until the flash and the boom and Zeronis crumbles on one of the runner's screen. Frostbite definitely has this in hand. They definitely have... Rosas with 2400 HP are very sturdy. They're going to have a hard time falling to a big bang. Hallam with Nuke is going to be an excellent source of damage. He is just chucking out quad 9s. He is casting his 6th nuke, which is... That's a lot of damage. Nuke is a really good spell. It does a lot of good things, and Hallam casts it really well because he just gets really good wisdom stats.
Frostbite putting up the Reflect on the Palom because he's probably... Unless you nerf this Big Bang, Palom is very unlikely to survive it. So putting the Reflect up there means the Rosas can do work keeping the rest of the party up.
Yep, and as you said, there goes Palom taking 2200 on that Big Bang. Only has not even 1900 HP, but I think we're going to go and see Palom get back up because that's some good damage. Kane is also just doing solid work with that Avenger. Or maybe we won't see Palom get back up because we are in Meteor Phase. Gygasmus only has 12,000 HP left in the final stretch.
Or, 2,800. Because that's the flash. Frostbite wins with an official race bot time of
1 hour, 55 minutes, and 55 seconds. GG's to them. Let's see if they want to come in for an interview.
I think the answer is yes. Hello, Frostbite.
Hey there. That was fun.
Yeah, so let me go and ask you this question first. How do you feel about endurance training?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what I feel about this game anymore. I'm kind of regretting joining the tournament because now I got to keep going and learn this harder flag set. I've never ran into so many. Normally you kind of don't mind running into the ugly bosses early in the game because, the spots are so nerfed that it's generally not a problem. But I've never been rejected from Ordeals and Zot in the same seed. Now, there's 0% chance I could have done that Assure. I needed an extra Star Veil at least, and then finding that Rune Axe, and I think that was worth the money I spent on it. I don't think I've ever bought a Rune Axe before either. And then that, it's just so ugly. All the horrible bosses were early, and I just felt so bad about everything I was doing. And then once I sort of I think it was when I found the cane, and I already had every weapon for every fighter in the game in my inventory and no fighters. And I was like, okay, I can do this now. I can just go back to the spots I've left and systematically do it, avoid the Fey March, last locate my item in the Fey March, because it's always Fey March apparently, and then go from there. So, I don't know. I felt pretty good I finished this one, to be honest. I'm fairly new at the game still. I'm shocked that I've done as well as I have, and I'm super happy with how this went for the most part. I got through a lot of those ugly bosses effectively. I'm happy with how my Threemus fight went, and yeah, I'm super happy with how all three of my races went in this group stage.
Yeah, and with this, you are officially into the table. So I hope you enjoy the next 3 weeks off.
I get weeks off. I'm going to have to be learning all these strats that I purposely ignored for this flag set because I figured I could bypass being efficient at D-Machine grinding. I could, I don't even know where the Warlock grind is. I could just gamble on Sirens being available, gamble on either egg grinding or dragon grinding. I was gambling on the fact that I wouldn't have to do any sort of low Z fight because I'm terrible at nerfing the big bangs, and I don't think that's going to be possible in the next series of flags. Basically, my whole strategy in this flag set is null and void in the next flag set. There's no early edges. You can't steal Sirens. There's almost certainly not going to be Sirens in most seeds. You're probably going to be having to use some sort of Tele grind. I made a specific point that I just wasn't going to take Tele in these races under any circumstances because it would lead me into D-Machine grinding, and I have a whole list of errors I've made in D-Machine grinding, and it's hilarious, forgetting to turn encounters off after finishing, forgetting to hard reset the game at the start so you aren't even getting yourself the right fight in the first place, forgetting to kill my anchor and sort of just ruining that thing, remembering to kill my anchor and then having the alert's HP run out before I could kill my anchor. I just had so many issues trying to learn that strategy that I decided I wasn't going to do it, and it was sort of possible now, but it's definitely not going to be possible in the next round. So I don't know. I'm so surprised I made it through. I would have been happy with winning a single race in the entire tournament. I'm super new to the game. I looked at my downloads to figure out when I started playing. The first seed I ever downloaded was in March, but I didn't really start playing this until July 12th. That's when I sort of picked up and said, you know what, I'm joining this tournament. I don't want to embarrass myself, so I'm going to get better at the game, and I put in a heck of a lot of work in that time, and I hope it shows, and I hope I don't embarrass myself moving forward.
There's a lot you can go and learn in a short time frame, and with tournaments, it's a great time to learn. So definitely a good showing. Going 3-0 is not something you go and sneeze at. There's definitely a lot of people putting time and effort into this. So congratulations for getting this far and seeing, I find this a very exciting game. I enjoyed learning as much as I have about it, and I enjoy learning even more when I do. So I hope you go and have a similar experience on your journey to dealing with table flags. Yeah, those are very different flags. You also have to go and you're going to have a lot of fun with party construction because of that permajoin flag.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm going to be save, reset, save, reset, save, reset, save, reset.
You don't have to reset out of characters on table flags.
Well, you have to reset out of them if you want to retake them later, right? Because once you are they receivable? Oh, okay. Well, then that's cool.
Characters are you either take them now or you can't take them ever again.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I see they sort of got the hard stops flipped in the table flags. I got it.
Yes.
But yeah, no. I have a lot of experience in racing other games, so I feel like I have some advantages in that this was my first restream in this game. I've done a lot of D3R high level racing and restreams, so I didn't really get nervous until the Z fight, and then my hands were vibrating, and I was like, okay, we're definitely not using white on the second Rosa because I'm gonna mismenu something. Let's just Zerker She's going to do no damage, but she'll clog the queue at least. But my hands were shaking too much. I wanted to sort of minimize my required inputs at that point in time. But yeah, I've been like following this community since the game came out, right? Like I've been watching a lot of the tournaments, and then it just didn't really catch me until the quests became a thing, because it just added so much more variability into how the seeds played out and what was required. And then sort of every change since that with the jumping and the sort of, I love the fact that all the crests aren't required to beat this flag set, so you can make some big gambles and not just get horribly burned. If there is a required item at the one spot that you skip, you can maybe make that up later on. So yeah, basically the first time I ever, when the announcement was made about what the flag set was, and I pulled up a couple seeds like it, and I just got completely hooked. I played so many seeds leading up to this to try and get better at it, and a lot of them I might just play like the first, like, I don't know, until I either got through the hook route or whatever, until I found my sirens and I could grind, because I figured, you know what, I'm gonna usually siren grind to OP levels and just try not to wipe on Z under any circumstance. Like, I don't care if I lose because I ground an extra gold dragon and it cost me a minute. I don't want to lose because I wiped twice to zero miss and I went in there first by 10 minutes. So that was something I definitely made a very specific point of doing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in love with this game. I love this community. I've been sort of just watching it and creeping from the side, but I'm definitely going to get more involved now as I, try and steal a lot of your guys' information to try and get ahead. But I love listening to comms like you, Baka, and Leggy. You know a lot about the game. Baka with all this crazy fringe, like, one-off scenario thing. I definitely stole that blinking of the attacking eye on the CPU boss from, I think it might have been from Inven, but I think you might have been calling that race and talking about it. I can distinctly remember seeing that and thinking, hey, I might need to remember that at some point. And I think, I don't know, Kane was kind of addicted to hitting that attacking guy. I think I had to blink it like 11 times or something like that, but I didn't really have a good weapon to put on him if I took the Avenger off. So I don't know, I just love that there's so much detail and nuance with, I'm addicted to trying and figuring out the agility system. I'm addicted to trying to memorize which gear gives which status boosts, and maybe not forgetting that I have a ribbon in my inventory until I'm halfway through the Threemus fight. Not that anybody would ever do that, but no, it was. I'm just so hooked. This couldn't be a better community, and I'm just so happy that I made it through. I honestly can't believe it. If you would have said, "What do you think you'll go?" I figured I'd go like maybe 1 and 2, maybe I'd win a race in Swiss, and to go 3-0, it's frankly it's unbelievable.
I am glad that you've gotten through them. This is very exciting for me. I'm sorry that my co-commentator did go and take a loss to you in her Swiss rounds, but I'm very happy that someone new to the game has picked it up so fervently and is this invested. I am very excited to see how you go and do with cables. I think as much experience you have with them now, you seem very likely to go and change that very strongly.
I'm gonna do my darn best, like I don't have, I'm fairly like realistic, like I know I'm not gonna win the tournament unless like there's like some sort of major catastrophe in the world or something, I'm gonna do my best though, and whenever I do something, I don't go in shin deep, you know what I mean? I just kind of dive in and hope the water's deep enough. So it's definitely deep enough with this game, and I'm loving it, love everything about it. So
well, I'm just rooting for you to win it all, because then I can say, hey, I lost to you.
Hey, that's my mentality too. So that's when I lose, I'll lose to the person that wins, and then you can just daisy chain on that. How's that?
Sounds good. Anyway, congratulations once again. This was such an exciting race to commentate, and I think this is one for the record books.
It's got a lot of good parts for it, that's for certain. It is,
Well, I for one cannot wait to... I specifically didn't, how it's like delayed, right? So you could just kind of creep the last 15 minutes. I specifically did not load it up. I'm like, I'm watching this thing from the beginning to the end as soon as I'm done. So
you're gonna go and have a good show for you. This was a lot of crisscrossing, a lot of just dealing with root stuff on the overworld and getting punted. You're not the only one who went and had to back out of a root check because they found a rooter boss there.
That's not surprising. That's one of the things, like, sorry to keep this interview going on forever, but I feel like I have a like I like to feel like I feel like sorry, let's just start this. A lot of people when they race, there's always a tendency to feel that you're behind, right? You haven't god routed the seed in the game you're playing, so the instinct is to feel that your opponent has. And in a big race, that's probably a good instinct because someone probably did. But in a 1v1 race, I feel like you have to take a lot more realistic approach. And I have a ton of experience in 1v1 racing, specifically in D3R. And a lot of my opponents, I notice they make one or two plays that maybe weren't optimal, and then they start to trickle down and they do terrible plays after that because they say, well, my opponent got this 20 minutes ago, so I got to go make this play to make up for it. And I just feel that's hogwash. I feel like you're probably better off checking the item you can get the fastest, like from your dead spot point next, like most of the time, unless there's an efficient routing play to make otherwise. So like, I specifically, was never going to go into those Feymarch bosses until I absolutely had to. I hate them. I made a point of not even scouting them. It's like, I don't even want to see something I think I can do there so that it drags me into a slow fight. Especially in a seed like this, where like that CPU fight was, or not the CPU, the evil wall fight was horrible. It was so slow. I kind of wish it punched out my first character that it hit, because I'm not familiar enough with the spots to like instantly see that and say, okay, that's doable, that's not doable when it's fringe. So I was like, I'll let him hit me, see what happens, and it did like 300 damage, and I'm thinking, well, I could probably just, I don't even think I need to blink all my characters. If I just blink the one Rosa who's going to get one shot, I can probably get through this. I didn't think it was going to take that long, but oh my god, my characters were doing no damage. Probably took like 8 or 9 minutes for that one fight. And so at that point, I was like, I could either feel behind or I could look at it and be like, there's no way. I've checked every single character that's available. There's no good ones. There's not an edge hiding anywhere. There's no way my opponent has just breezed through this. So just keep breathing calmly and go and do the checks that you think you can do. And that's basically what I did. I made a mental note of, okay, I think, Zod is probably harder than the Golbez, which I probably could have done the first time with Piggy Straps, but it's really slow enough. I didn't want to fail it twice. And just do the quickest checks you can, and I'm just super happy it worked out. So yeah, I'm pumped.
I'm excited for you as well. This is definitely an exciting race to commentate.
Awesome, but thanks guys. I'm going to step off now. Baka, Leggy, thanks for the comms. I'm sure it's going to be awesome watching it back. And GG's to Leggy and Bahamut and jenicastrife, my group mates, and I'm going to try and do us proud moving forward into the table stage. And thanks to Bad Karma and Navard for doing the back-end work.
Indeed. Good luck going forward.
Thanks, Baka. Take care.
You too.
Yeah, and so while we were in our interview, it looks like Jenica... I'm not sure whether or not she cleared Cave Bahamut, but she's definitely doing the King Ryu grind down here in the bottom of the lunar subterrane.
Yep, maybe they went and thought they didn't realize that you can go and get the King Ryu fight also in the floors 2 and 3 of Cave Bahamut. And
To be fair, I didn't know that either until just now.
Yep, that is one of those things. No, we play a lot of free fries. We show it everywhere thanks to the efforts of our people like our restreamer Neobari or our tracker Bad Karma 62. You can go and put on these shows. And when you watch people, this is the most common place to see people go and do a King Ryu grind. That's because normally when you come to the moon, you're coming down to this bottom of the lunar subterrane. That's where you've got 4 dense key item checks just right next to each other, 2 at the ribbon spot, 1 at the White Spear altar, 1 at the Masamune altar, then a 5th one at the Crystal Sword altar, not too far away. And you don't see a lot of people go and pull up the King Ryu grind in Cave Bahamut, which is a much more shallow check. But as Frostbite showed off, if you only need to go in there for something, and that something is an explicit objective, you can get those King Ryu fights in there with a Siren on both floors 2 and 3. And to go and say something for other people, the Warlock grind is on E4, basement 4 of the Lunar Subterrane. It is the first of the 3 tiered strata rooms, where you're going in and out all of those doors. The first one of those has the 3 Warlock fight. It is another useful grind on the moon for when you can't go and get hourglasses or need to go and do something different. Jenicastrife has finished their... Well, they've done some grinding. They're going back out. I don't believe their Palom has nukes, so that's definitely not the worst thing to go and do.
Yep. And Jenica's doing a... I guess Jenica went for the spot here because she's going for weak strats with Tela.
Yeah, if you haven't picked up Ethers, that's something where Tela, without getting increased MP, is only able to go and do 3 weeks, and then he's done. When you give him a Soma drop, he can do 4 weeks. That is something I find incredibly important, and why I like to only get a Soma drop if I keep Tela.
In other news, Palom can now weak.
That's something that's probably going to go and help out Jenicastrife, because that Palom's got a lot bigger of an MP pool. He actually get MP as he levels up. And yeah, just grinding gold dragons. This is going to get, I think it's going to take 2 more fights for Palom to learn Nuke. That is going to be, that's going to be big damage. And then we're going to see where Jenica goes from there.
Indeed. My assumption is she's probably going to go up to Cape Bahamut, realize that she didn't need to do her grind yet, because we've only got the King Queen Evelyn, and then go kick the butt from Mother 1.
Yep. Casting Isaac, heading out. So that is they're done with their grind now. They're going to go and see the fight in Cape Bahamut, and we're going to see how they feel about that. Just to go over all of the fights we saw only on the overworld. Wyvern, Golbez, Valvalis, Alt Gauntlet, Evil Wall, Ashura. All of those were in overworld spots. All of those kicked their runners out of someplace. Or at least almost all of those. The Wyvern into Golbez went and sapped Jenica's Starbells, and Frostbite took a wipe to Golbez and just decided, no, I'm going to leave out Ordeals. Jenica went and got into a long, protracted fight with Valvalis and Baron Castle, just didn't have the damage to go and pull through it before her party was just slowly ground down into petrified dust. Frostbite got through a slow, painful fight with an Evil Wall and Tower of Zot, only to discover Ashura up there with those Starbells and had to back out because they just didn't have the supplies to go and deal with Ashura. Getting to the moon required them to go through that CPU fight at Ashura with no great way of doing damage because the only useful weapon Kane had was an Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
The Seed just was trying to grind down our runners to the as much as it could, and all of this to lead up to the final objective of completing Cave Bahamut and having the most pre-boss in the game sitting there, just saying, "Hey, what kept ya?"
The answer, of course, is did you not see CP was in Ashura?
I think the answer is literally every other boss in the seed, because we've seen almost all of them.
The hilarious part, of course, is that technically our runners had access to the darkness crystal from the word go, as long as they had the ability to take out that CPU. This seed did not want to give you the ability to take out that CPU at all.
You're right. Our runners went through every single key item check on Earth, and none of them mattered. I'm sorry, I'm losing again. Oh my god! This-
And according to chat, the spoiler log says that the adamant was up here on the moon anyway. So, like, even if you wanted to do the Forge quest, you would have to have come to the moon regardless. This seed is a masterclass troll.
It really is. I have played a number of seeds recently where I get a very definitive go mode in, like, my first item, or I check a few key item spots, and then I'm in go mode, and it's just go. Figure something out, grind, take out Threemus, you now have your crystal. Or you have a clear path to your crystal. This seed was mean about it. This seed was like, yeah, here's the path to the darkness crystal. And the two other, and you know, you need the darkness crystal to go and get to Cave Bahamut for one of your objectives. This is just straight up another one of your objectives. And your third random objective, well, you're going to have access to it pretty much right away. You have to go through one spot and then complete one check. And then you're done. You're done. You're going to have it. It's going to be fine. And then our runners go and say, no, I don't want to do Fame Arch bosses. Those things hit hard and are mean, and it's CPU and Yang. I don't want to go and do either of those fights. So let's do everything else on Earth. And the seed obliged.
Right?
And they gave all the awful bosses, too. Evil Wall is just chilling at Maga Sisters, ready to go and crush some dreams. Valvalis is just spinning tales of despair for our runners. Wyvern is just laughing his face off as he's sitting there at the front spot of Ordeals, while Golbez is chuckling behind him. The seed was mean.
How the seed gives you the Magma Key. You also get the Legend Sword for free, because wasn't the Legend Sword the key item in the Fame Arch? Just
You're
sitting
right.
up?
It was just sitting there.
So you've completed one objective. You found half your forge. Doing Dwarf Castle gave you the Luca key. And so you're just sitting there like, ugh. I think we need to have another seed rolling ban on Neobari.
You know, I'm not going to disagree. You're the one who's supposedly banned from seeds, and I like your seeds better than this one.
Right? No, my seeds are fine. My seeds are Jetty.
Your like, this one had the potential to be Jetty if it didn't go and just obfuscate how Jetty it was.
I mean, if you look at the spoiler and you don't pay attention to, you know, how difficult the boss fights are, this seed was extremely Jetty.
The seed was, here is access to all of your items from the word go. You don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need any other key items. You know, you go to Dwarf Castle. There's a key item for Luca. Go and take care of that. Your darkness. It's behind the Magma Key. It's CPU will give you that. And then you go to Cape Bahamut for the freest fight in the game. You even get one objective for free.
Right? Yeah, the game's like, oh, you want that Magma Key objective? Here you go. Jenica was on the board at like a minute and a half.
And it's just the seed. The seed was like, let me tempt you with all of these other Earth checks. You want to go anywhere but the ones that are open to you, right? Right? Yeah, let's go. Here's a Baron Key. Here's an Earth Crystal. That's got a treasury and 2 characters. You might be able to go and find a good melee fighter to use those weapons I've been giving you. You know, I'm going to be entirely honest. I actually kind of want to get the seed and clear the giant just to see if Edge is there.
Oh my god, that would... Yes. You should do that. You should do that. We know.
I'll try and remember to do that after I go and deal with practicing tomorrow.
That's fair. Though, I feel like this is an interesting seed to practice on in general, you know, even as fully spoilered as we are, because it's like the question of, okay, how close to the line can I go take on that CPU?
Yeah, that's the hard part, because you need some way of dealing damage, and what ways did you get to do damage? I think the best way you had to deal damage was take your Magma Key, use it for free, go down to Sylph Cave, talk to Yon, go back up, get the Sanderby, get Hallam, pick up a Rosa and one or two other characters, go to Dwarf Castle, and fight the Bahamut that was there with Starbell, so your Palom gets a bunch of experience. Then when he's got that experience, deal with the Kanazo there to get Hallam hopefully up to Quake, and then start going and breaking things down with that. Like, if you're going to go and spoiler log this, that's probably your most efficient way of doing that, but who is going to go do the, like, go down, get the Sanderby, and pick that up, and take Palom, and bring him straight to Dwarf Castle when you don't have any damage? You had, like, Sid with an Earth Hammer. That was your best damage for the longest time. Rosa was around. There were multiple Rosas. They could do some things to help. But you just didn't get good sources of damage on these anywhere.
Right? Ugh. And, like, the other thing about the seed is, you know, like, you go into the treasury, you get all these wonderful ninja swords, and the game's just like, nah.
Yeah. Yes. Here, you want Edge, right? Edge is going to be great. Edge is going to let you steal Sirens. That is going to let you do a great grind. That's going to let you go and deal with all these root bosses on... You believe me. Yes,
Right?
Hold on to your ninja swords. And one of the melee fighters you see early on is Yang. Yang, it's Yang. He's a monk. He doesn't do damage. He needs 20 levels to go and be able to do the level of damage that a level 15 Cecil could. He's just not going to be able to do anything unless you get a bunch of experience, and you have no way of getting experience. You can't kill anything.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see, like, because there were a few bosses that weren't that bad, and there were also like 30 Paloms in the scene.
Yes. There was one Palom at Dwarf Castle who was behind Bahamut, which wouldn't be bad if it weren't for the fact that you then have to face Kanazo, and if you just get the Palom there, he's not going to have any experience. But there's the other one from the Sanderby, which is behind Sheila 1, and that's just a bit of walking. So that's fine. Then there's the Tulin Zot, who always scary to go and take a number of Paloms for your damage, because one, they're squishy casters and stand up to punches about as well as a piece of... God, I can't even remember. Philo Dough. I was going to go and say a sheet of Philo Dough in the wind, but
Also fair.
baklava because I want some sugar to jumpstart my brain again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, it just happens to be Ashura there, so, like, good luck getting those Paloms through that fight alive.
Yes, where there was an Elven Bow, I think, for sale somewhere, and a Rune Axe in Cave Evelyn, but there was not a lot of anti-mage gear seen either, at least not for the characters we had.
Yeah, the Elven Bow was in Fabul, so...
So Sid could use that, which is technically damage, but that's not something you're going to want to really do, and good arrows you can find somewhere, because they're probably in some shop, but...
Yeah, that's just a lot of running around and shop checking, which you don't want to do because you want to be going.
Exactly. And you did get a power shirt if you full looted the Watery Pass, but I mean, you can full loot the Watery Pass and find a power shirt, an Avenger, and a defense sword, or you can full loot the Watery Pass and find 30 gold and 200 gold and a meat bell and just not much else. The Seed really just... The Seed enjoyed going and making you work for any amount of damage. You were just not going to get anything. That treasury as well, it's like, ninja sword, ninja sword, ninja sword, three-handed edges, let's go and get this freak show going. And of course, we couldn't even find a normal two-handed edge. The Seed just... It didn't like you. It didn't want you to succeed. It wanted you to go and suffer terribly, and made sure you did.
Yeah. But congratulations to Jenica for making it to the medio phase.
They're getting to the end. It is not an unreasonable thing to go and forfeit some of your matches when it's been 2 hours. I'm not at Threemus. My opponent finished. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to bed. No, Jenica's no forfeit life. Threemus is here, is an evil to be destroyed, he will be destroyed, and he will be destroyed by my hands alone!
Yeah. And you have to respect going, okay, no, I am finishing this.
Yeah, that's, I respect it a lot. I am on team no forfeit because I'm stubborn. I don't believe in going and saying I give up.
I'm definitely on team forfeit when it's like, I'm just in grind and go mode. I figured out how this seed's going to work. I don't want to go through the rest of the motions and waste everyone's time. But Jenica has finished with an official time of 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 50 seconds, putting this nightmarish seed to rest. Congratulations.
I did it.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you know what? It wasn't as bad as my first race, so I'm happy.
Well, let's hope the trend doesn't continue on.
No, let's hope the trend of things better for Jenica continues, because if this wasn't as bad as your first race, what was your first race?
I had gooseness at the end, enough said.
Oh, okay.
So, this was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot to take in. There were a few things, I felt like I was kind of looking for love in all the wrong places for a while there. So, and then when I was creeping up to Cave Bahamut, I was just like, I should have checked this. This is gonna be King Queen. I just know it. And there they were, sitting there all free.
Yep. To be fair, did you have any hard bosses left? You already felt you faced Wyvern and Golbez on ordeals.
That's true.
Yeah. Valvalis and I can't even remember the second boss at Baron Castle.
It was Ogo, right?
Ogo, right?
It was Ogo.
Ogo.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the Gulp in the basement.
Yep.
You had Upuwal and Ashura on top of Za. You had CPU and Yang in Feymarch.
Yeah,
Nazo was at Dwarf Castle, sorry.
Yeah, no, it was like the whole peanut gallery for sure.
So, one of the things I noticed, and that I wanted to ask about, was that you definitely took I am clearing this overworld, or at least looking at everything before I go underground approach. Like, you were by far the first one to open up the underground access, but you put off going down there much longer than your opponent did.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure. Yeah, I realize that. I think that I'm still trying to kind of burst out of my comfort zone of being a little bit of a beginner. So I don't know. I should have gone down there.
I mean, like, There was no way you were getting through that CPU at that point anyway.
No, it's very true. I mean, it's very true.
And your Freebie and Fame Arch was the legend sword that the adamant from what we saw in the spoiler log was in the ribbon spot. So you were never going to go through that before finishing the rest.
No way.
Yeah, both of you were fairly like neck and neck throughout most of the seed. Just some little routing changes, and your wipe to Valvalis took a lot longer than his wipe to Ashura on the top of Zot. So, like, if any of the wipes had been a little less finicky, or if routing had gone slightly differently, this could have been anyone's race.
Yeah, I really felt that with the Valvalis too. I was in there too long for sure.
That's very easy to do on a Valvalis wipe when your team is Rosa, Tella, Yang, and Sid, and one other character that I've forgotten.
Yeah, that's I think who I had then. Yeah, for sure. And it's such a low HP spot. I thought I could just kind of like slop through it a little bit, but
yeah, I definitely thought you had that fight.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would have had it like one more hit, but I definitely hit that reset, so we'll never know.
You were definitely really starved for damage early on. That's it's definitely respectable to think, maybe do I have enough damage to get through this? I probably do. When you have a team like that, and it's just
it was real borderline. And how about all that edge gear? I mean,
right?
I feel like I still want to keep it all.
I don't know. That sounds like an scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brock and I were talking. I think he might go and play this seed later and see if he can't find the edge on the giant. That's clearly
he's on the giant. I know it. He's got to be.
No. I'm waiting for Cecil to be on the giant.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Didn't see him either. Yeah.
There's this seed was mean. The seed just said, "Hey, let's find all the rude bosses and just put them right in the overworld, not even the underworld." Which,
right, I know. And then the boss that takes all your star veils and then Golbez right after was fun.
yeah, that was. What was even worse is both you and Frost went and dealt with Wyvern, left Golbez.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do there?
Exactly.
right.
Frost used more Star Veil, so when he got to Ashura, he was there. It's like, great, let me go and pull into my bag. I already used that trick.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's so rough.
The seed did not. The seed did not like the idea of you progressing through the overworld, which is
what I really wanted to do. So obviously.
Well, I believe you have one more match left to go.
I do. Yep. One more.
Yep.
When is that one scheduled?
I believe it's 5 p.m. Pacific. It's on Thursday. So.
All right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to figuring out which one of us is going Hook and which one of us is going out Magma.
We're gonna find out.
Lucky, have you been scouting out your opponent the entire time?
Oh, have I been? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll take any excuse to watch an opponent's race.
Yeah.
Jenica, go and watch Leggy's back or something to go and get even.
Okay, will do.
Well, do you have any final questions, Leggy?
Not at this moment. Mostly I'm just happy that the seed was actually beatable.
Yeah, that was nice. We're not still fighting.
It was so mean. Well, looking forward to your next race. Sorry you didn't get the win today, but it was definitely...
no biggie. It was fun.
I'm glad you had fun. That is definitely the most important part with all of this.
Yeah, and good game to Frostbite.
Yes, GG's for him. He was very excited and animated.
Oh, cool. I'll have to watch the watch the VOD later.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be excited. I've kind of become attached to our little group, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far Frostbite goes.
Yeah, no, like very, very good showing today for sure.
Yes, it was a great race to show, and I am very happy that we got to see it show it off today. So thank you for
Yeah.
for being restreamed.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a
goodbye.
good night. And with that, that brings us to the end of that seed that was determined to go and give our runners every option and make all of the options as bad as possible. Leggy, who do you want rolling your seed next for your race?
Gosh. I feel like there's no good answer.
I believe Scala is always a great answer. Scala will go and give you lots of presents.
Yeah, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it.
You know, that's pretty fair.
And like, I'm talking mega nuke levels of burning.
There is no burning bridges like mega nuking bridges. I definitely agree. With that end of our race, we are I don't want to sound as tired as I am, but I'm really tired. That race really, I feel bad for the runners who had to go through that. That was a very, very harsh seed to go through. That was something that really didn't want our runners to go and progress anywhere.
Indeed, but now that we're done with this journey, let's figure out where to go next.
Yes, just seeing the best place to send you all on to. You had a lot of free enterprise already, but we are there is still more free enterprise around. We're just trying to pick the best place to send you to be entirely honest.
Indeed. Tonight's a good night.
And I think we're going to be sending you over to Randomania 2, which has another match going on. So we will be sending you all over there. I have, if we can get that queued up. And I think we're going to go and be getting that queued up now. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed the race today. And we hope you go and enjoy the race that you see on Randomania 2. Reminder, please do not spoil the results of this race for anyone who is watching. They may be wanting to go and watch the VOD at a later point in time.
Indeed. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. And I hope I'll see each and every one of you again soon.
Same here. Have a great night.